Welcome back to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. We are blessed to have Chris Moore with us, and our topic is Mindset is Everything. And I'm loving this discussion because, Chris was an owner of a remodeling company. I'm blessed to be an owner of a placement company, and we both work with seniors and families every single day. And there's times I pick up the phone and I could be talking to a very, very young person in their, I would say, early 60s. Yes, I called early 60s young. And they could be telling me all the problems they're running into in their home, and they need to move into an independent living. 5 minutes later, I could be on the same phone with a different person who's 96 years old having the exact same conversation. And you know what I've learned is we don't ask age anymore. We ask about their mental state. Where are they at? What can they do? What physically can they do? So these are the topics we're talking about today. And Chris, I wanted to start with this question to you. We can make all the right decisions in our lives and still things can happen. How would you encourage anyone who's gone through a situation that's been tough like that?
Yeah. Well, my wife's cancer diagnosis is a great example. I mean, people get in car accidents every day. People's lives are snuffed out way too young, over and over and over and over, often through no fault of their own. And we are often left in the aftermath trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces. And the the fact, whatever the fact is, a cancer diagnosis, an automobile accident, a wonderful day at the beach. It doesn't matter what the fact is. It has two aspects. It has a positive and a negative. There's no such thing as a one-sided coin. There's no such thing as a one-sided piece of bread. There's no such thing as a one-sided life experience. No matter how devastating and how cruel and how crushing the experience is that you have been through, you can find a positive aspect. You can find lessons learned. You can find something to be grateful for in the midst of your trauma and your pain. And finding that thing to be grateful for is like a key that opens the door to start living again.
It's life changing. It is absolutely life changing. And we have a decision to choose joy in situations. And that's the words that came to me as you were talking. Choose joy. I choose joy today in this turmoil, right? And there's no testimony without a test. So many, many, many people are going through it in different scenarios. But, in my personal journey in my life, what I found is just leaning on my prayer time and my meditation with God has been life changing for me because I'm on this journey, but I can't do it alone. And like you said, other people coming around you and inspiring you is what gives you hope, right, for the future. So I appreciate and love that. There was another saying that you and I had talked about offline about someone said to you once, you've only got 12 good years after retirement to travel. Do you
Yeah,
remember
that was
this?
actually that was actually a column on Substack that made that point, and I made a comment on that article and said that I respectfully disagree. And if that's your attitude, that's probably what you're going to get. But we all have the opportunity to live much longer and much fuller than maybe we think we do. There are 5 areas in the world called the blue zones where people routinely live to be over 100 years old
I have heard
actively.
about
And
this.
yeah. And so that being, when you see that and you recognize that possibility, then it opens the door for you to believe and to change your mindset about what's possible. There's a story in my book about Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister was the first human being to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Back in the early 50s, it was widely known in academic circles that this was an impossible feat. There were articles written, there were medical journals written that said it was physically impossible for a human being to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. Their heart would explode, and it just couldn't be done. But Roger Bannister must not have read those articles, because one day he ran a mile in 3:59 and some hundredths of a second.
And there you go.
But what's interesting about that, how long do you think he held that world record?
I'm assuming a long time
Less than 2 months.
because everybody got inspired.
Within a year, dozens, maybe not dozens, many world-class runners broke his record. Why? Because they saw that it could be done, and therefore they believed it was possible. As long as they believed it was impossible,
Agreed.
it was impossible for them. Your body and your mind will never consistently act in opposition to your beliefs.
That is so critically important what you're saying right now. Our mind and our brains is such a powerful tool. And we have the ability, like you just said, to make a difference based upon those thoughts, right? We talked about it earlier. Thoughts become your words, words become your actions. And now all of a sudden you think you can do it, and guess what? You're doing it. I
Right.
love it. This is so
Yes.
inspiring for so many people.
And we were created in the image and likeness of God.
That's
And
right.
the first thing that God told us about himself, the very first verse in the Bible, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. When you meet somebody for the first time, the first thing you tell them about yourself is what you think is most important in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So God, the first thing he told us about himself was that he's creative.
Amen.
The first thing he didn't tell us wasn't that, he's love and that he's mercy and that he's all the wonderful attributes. He told us that he's creative and that we're created in his image. So we then are created to create stuff and made to make stuff. And if we're not doing that, then we're not going to feel fulfilled. And that is the problem with what we call retirement, is that we're taught you work 40 hours a week for 40 years so you can live on 40% of your income. And
Okay.
then you just you just rest. I mean, you work so you can sit there and rest. And that feels really good for a couple of weeks. And then you start to feel like, wait a minute,
I've
this
got more to
feels
offer. Yep.
right. And
Mm-hmm.
so that whole idea is really coming under the microscope by a lot of people, a lot of commentators, a lot of influencers, a lot of people who are discussing ideas, are reimagining what the later parts of life
And
look
I got to
like.
tell you, this is a true story. I had a client that said they felt like a Ferrari in a garage with the garage door shut. I mean, that's that feeling of I've got all this power and so much to offer the world, but the garage door is closed and I'm not leaving this garage. And that is exactly the problem, like you just said, with retirement, with aging. We have the mindset, we have the capability. Go out, make a difference, do it. And I just want to encourage people to pay it forward. Do something fulfilling in your life, a passion maybe that you always had, but were never able to fulfill because you didn't have the time when you were working full time. Whether it's, cancer, whether it's children, whether it's seniors who need more help, this is an opportunity to really give back. And imagine if everyone did a little bit of something, the difference we could make in the world today. It's significant.
Amen. Amen. One of the things I like to say is the difficult we do right away. The impossible takes a little longer.
You've got a lot of wisdom there, Chris Moore. We've got 1 minute left in our program. Anyone who might just be tuning in, what would you want to close with, the takeaway from this program today? It's been very
Well,
inspiring.
yeah, I mean, a lot of what we've talked about is in my book. My book is entitled Age Out Loud. It's available on Amazon. My website is ageoutloudbook.com. And for those that are interested in aging in place and redefining what their later years look like, you can check out my podcast, Aging in Place is a Team Sport.
Well, I appreciate you, Chris. I am definitely inspired and motivated. And I know listeners, anyone right now who has been struggling in a certain area or something has come along that you did not see. And I will just tell you 70% of people do need some kind of care as they age. But guess what? It's how we look at that situation. It's all about perspective and all about mindset. So I just want to encourage you, this is an opportunity. It happens to everybody. There's not one person in the world that was created not to age. This is what we all, our physical bodies were designed to move through life and to one day pass. So I'm just encouraging, make the best of it. You're listening to Next Steps for Seniors, Conversations on Aging. Thank you for being with me, Chris.
Thank you.